Good day, sir. We are the Group 6 and we are here to tackle about poverty. Poverty is by definition a state or condition in which a person or community lacks the financial resources and essentials for a minimum standard of living. There are 6 different types of poverty. First, absolute poverty is defined as a condition in which people lack the basic necessities of life, such as food, clothing, shelter, and healthcare. Absolute poverty is often measured by looking at the percentage of people who live below the poverty line. It is set at an income level that is necessary to meet basic needs. There are different poverty lines from county to country, but the international poverty line usually set at around $2.15 per day. Extreme poverty is a more severe form of absolute poverty and is defined as a condition in which people lack the basic necessities of life. The second poverty is relative poverty. It is defined as a condition in which people lack the resources to participate fully in society. Relative poverty is often measured by looking at the gap between the rich and the poor. In developed countries, the poverty line is typically set at 50% of the median income. This means that if the median income in a country is $50,000, then the poverty line would be at $25,000. So, this report outlines the definitions and measurement methods of absolute and relative poverty. Absolute poverty is characterized by lacking basic necessities and is often measured by income thresholds, while relative poverty focuses on the disparity between income levels in society, typically set at 50% of the median income in developed countries.
Situational poverty. Situational poverty is usually defined as a lack of resources at a particular time. Though this makes it temporary, it can become chronic if people can find a way to get out. 4. Generational poverty. It is a type of poverty that is passed down from one generation to the next. Generational poverty often results in a cycle of poverty that is difficult to escape. This is because children who grew up in poverty often lack resources and opportunities that are necessary to break out of it. 5. Urban poverty. Urban poverty is a type of poverty that is specifically tied to living in an urban area. According to the United Nations Development Program (UND), urban poverty refers to the condition of people who lack the resources to secure the minimum necessities of life, including food, clothing, and shelter in an urban area. 6. Rural poverty. Rural poverty is a type of poverty that is specifically tied to living in a rural area. Rural poverty is often caused by a lack of access to essential services and opportunities, such as education, healthcare, and employment.
About 1.1 billion people, which is over 18% of the global population, live in acute multidimensional poverty in 110 countries. Poverty can be caused by discrimination, inequalities, corruption, lack of food, water, education, employment, and population growth. Poverty can lead to devastating effects, especially for children and the elderly who lack access to basic needs like education, shelter, and clothing. In countries without adequate support systems, poverty can become a vicious cycle, perpetuating the problem. It's worth noting that the term First World is an outdated way of referring to highly developed countries like the United States and the United Kingdom. While it may seem like poverty isn't an issue in these countries, poverty can still exist even in highly developed nations. However, these countries have access to safety nets and resources to help people break out of poverty. For example, the poverty line in the US is $14,500 for individuals and $30,000 for a family of 4. And the official poverty rate in 2022 is 11.5% of the population. Poverty can affect anyone at any time, regardless of where they live.
Poverty in the third world countries. The term third world is also very antiquated. Back then, it only referred to the countries not associated with the Allied or the access powers. Nowadays, it has changed to more or less refer to developing countries. Developing in this context meaning their standards of living, income, economic, and industrial development is below average. Now, that should help illustrate that currently there are considered to be 152 countries under that level and they account for 85% of our whole population. The sheer scope of third world countries makes it hard to be provide a consistent numbers of people under poverty lines. And this should speak volumes on how absolutely widespread it is. According to World Bank in 2019, 700 million people live below the absolute poverty line, which was $2.15. Is it possible to live in a world without poverty? We can make the world without poverty, but it needs a lot of people working together, changing how things are done and sticking with it for a long time. To get rid of poverty, we have to deal with top problems like rich and poor differences. Making sure everyone can go to school and get healthcare and giving chance to groups who don't have as much. So it's not easy to completely end poverty, but we can make a progress if everyone around the world joins in. We have good rules and we share resourcely friendly. So in simple terms, yes, it's possible, but it needs everyone to be committed and take smart action globally.